15 of the ADAC Formula 4 Championship here at the Nürburgring. The drivers have to contend with a wet road for the first time this weekend. They have had already free practice, qualifying in 2 races, all of which has been held in the dry. But now, at the end of what's been a pretty grim weekend, certainly today, weather-wise, with fog, with rain, with mist, with delays, with interruptions to races, the grid is formed with everybody on wet tyres. Pole position to Tim Zimmerman. This grid is based on the results of race 1 of yesterday, with the top 10 in reverse. So Zimmerman 10th is on pole, and Mick Schumacher with him at the front of the grid. It's round 15 of a championship being led now by Marvin Dienst, who has won both races this weekend. Nobody yet has won all 3 across a weekend, but the way that Dienst has been going suggests that if anybody can do that, he is the man. He has been able to capitalise on 2 front row starts, not on pole, but on the inside of the road, get the lead at the first corner. He's been mighty impressive on cold tyres, and he's been able to build up an advantage. Well, here he will start 10th, having won the first race of the weekend. Tim Zimmerman is in the yellow car at the front, and it's Mick Schumacher, Michael Schumacher's son, who is with him at the front of the grid, having had 1 win already this year. Schumacher is 13th, I should say, in the championship, whereas Tim Zimmerman, the pole man, is 8th, with the exception of Michael Waldherr, who will start 13th on the grid. Everybody else in the top 10 in the championship is within the top 10 on the grid, so it's going to be a very, very tight fight. And although Mick Schumacher is only 13th, he has had a victory this year back at Ossersleben. He's proved he can be a winner, so he should also be part of that mix, I would have thought, for race honours. The race itself is pretty long, bearing in mind these are all young drivers. It is 30 minutes, not laps, but 30 minutes. The flag going out the first time the leader crosses the line once the elapsed time is up. And the Tim Zimmerman car starting on pole position. Tim this year has had a 2nd place as his best result. That came at the Red Bull Ring in the 2nd race there. And as the countdown continues, engines now fire up at the 1-minute board. The mechanics leave the grid, everybody on wet tyres. Now the road is damp, it's not fully wet, but there'll be some spray, I would have thought, being kicked up. One of the other problems that we've had over the course of the day is the fog. At one moment it's very foggy over certain parts of the circuit, and then it can be a lot brighter the next, and then it can cloud back over again. And so we've had 1 race curtailed early because of the fog. We've had another race affected certainly by it. Let's see what the conditions have in store for us. The fans for Job van Uitert there, number 77, getting ready to cheer him on. Job van Uitert starting quite a long way back on the grid, and it's going to be a safety car start as well. So that's going to take some of the sting out of the start of this. It won't be a chance for drivers to gain ground under braking. Fritz van Amersfoort heads down the pit lane. It's a shame that we have to have safety car starts. I know they've had no wet running all weekend, but even so, it takes away the opportunity to see who the best drivers are from a standing start on a damp, greasy road. So the race order as they head down to turn 1 is going to be the way that they line up on the grid, and that means that with the safety car start, Tim Zimmerman in the yellow car will lead the way. Schumacher is behind him. Yesterday, the first race, which was round 13, they got through without any safety car periods at all. But today, after 2 safety car periods in the 2nd race yesterday, it is a safety car start for them. The road has certainly been a lot wetter over the course of the day. It's better now than it has been really for much of the day, but you can understand why. You see, they've been out only on a dry track. The officials want to make sure that these young drivers don't have any nasty surprises, and so the safety car start. Now, is that going to be 1 or 2 laps to give them a chance to assess the conditions? We'll see. Tim Zimmerman and Mick Schumacher are at the front, ahead of Joey Mawson, and then Ralph Aron 3rd and 4th. 5th on the grid, and then 5th in the queue, of course, now Robert Schwarzman, ahead of David Beckman, his teammate. Next up comes Joel Eriksson, who lost his championship lead yesterday. Lando Norris is 8th on the grid, having been 3rd in race 1. 9th, the pole man from race 1 and race 2, Jano Asmeyer, and then 10th is the man that's won both races so far this weekend, and that is Marvin Dienst. He lines up ahead of Camille Olivetti, Johnny Cicotto. Then it is Giuliano Racci and Michael Waldherr ahead of Job van Uitert and Benjamin Massetis, who's the driver that crashed out yesterday. Kim Lewis Schramm also crashed out yesterday in race 2. He's ahead of Janis Fittio. Then comes Jason Kramer and Moritz Müller-Krepon for Jensen alongside the Team Scheider car. Then it is Nico Rindlisbacher and Cedric Pirot ahead of Jan Jonk and Mauro Aliccio in the next to the Timo Scheider run cars. Robin Brezina has had a couple of accidents over the weekend, frustratingly. He is ahead of Giorgio Maggi. Then it is Luca Engschler and Kari Schreiner. 29th is where you find Marilyn Niederhauser. 30th, Mike Ortman, who was dealt a bad hand in this really effectively by having to make a pit stop with damage. He's ahead of Michel Halder and then Tony Wolff. Then comes Marit Botman, who crashed out Harry Newey, who had mechanical dramas and was a retirement. He was, I think, had a punctured tyre from memory, and he will complete the 34 cars that we have. Nikolai Rogivu dropped out after qualifying, and we also lost the car of Giles Run after dramas in the qualifying session as well. We've had spins even behind the safety car. They've done one lap, going on to a second safety car lap now to a quicker pace while they get some warmth into the tyres. So the safety cars start. Then it's Tim Zimmerman who will control the pace. They run on a Pirelli tyre. These are all Tatius chassis with an Abarth 1400cc turbo engine. And for a very competitive championship in the ADAC's auspices. One or two of the drivers, like Tim Zimmerman, like Lando Norris, do other categories. Lando particularly busy because he's raced in the Italian as well as the German and of course the British equivalent, the so-called MSA formula for the FIA spec cars. And Lando Norris yesterday got himself on the podium in race 1. Joel Eriksson then, 7th in the queue at the moment, needs some points out of this because of course he's now lost the championship lead. He lost that in race 2 yesterday to pretty inspired Marvin Dienst, and it therefore means that there's 3 points between them coming into this race. So Eriksson needs, if he can, to stay ahead. The safety car is going to be in this time, so we will go racing at the end of this lap, and that's going to give us 25 minutes, maybe less, 24 and a half or so, as the cars now work their way through Mercedes Arena, then through the hairpin, then it is the Bilstein Curva, and up towards the Ad Van Bogen, which at certain angles just looks like a little king, but it is a serious corner. And now the weaving begins. Everybody on the wet tyres. I don't think anyone has been brave enough to think about the road drying out, and the cloud is getting lower again as the fog rolls in once more. So it is Tim Zimmerman who leads the way. He's not been a winner this year. The man behind him, Mick Schumacher, has. Then Joey Mawson, he's had 2 victories. Then it's Ralph Aaron, who's had a couple of second places. So pressure is on some of these drivers now to really achieve. And Mick Schumacher, after an accident at the Red Bull Ring, in which he hurt his hand, he's been dealt a bad blow points-wise, so he needs to get himself back on track as well. And of course he's doing all of this under a very bright spotlight. We are set to go racing then, as up towards the Coca-Cola curve comes Tim Zimmerman. They can't start overtaking until they get to the timing line, so 1 or 2 of the rather keen drivers need to be a little bit more respectful of all of this, but they go racing now, and Zimmerman gets away. Schumacher having to defend from Joey Mawson as we go racing with really 25 minutes on the clock. Down towards turn 1 they go, they fan out all across the road and dive down towards the Mercedes Arena for the first time, with Zimmerman leading Schumacher, leading Mawson, who's had a bit of a subdued weekend thus far, turning their way through the right-hander now. Sprinting their way up towards the left at turn 2. And where is the championship leader now? Marvin Dienst in all of this. Is he being able to work his way up through the pecking order? We'll see in a moment or two as the cars now swing their way out of the left-hander. There is Zimmerman as the leader. Joey Mawson round the outside of Schumacher for second place. On the inside for turn 4. He's done it. Through he goes, but he slithers out wide. Schumacher fights back on the way down towards the hairpin. So they're absolutely side by side now for second place with a yellow helmet. Mick Schumacher is on the inside line here. Joey Mawson is ahead, but can the Australian come out of the corner ahead? No, he cannot. Schumacher through, runs wide, almost skims the wing end plate there on Mawson's car. So Schumacher is up to second, but while they battle for 3 corners, Tim Zimmerman has built up the gap. Schumacher, then Mawson, then it is Ralph Aaron ahead of Joel Eriksson as they turn their way out of the Bilstein curve for the first time. Zimmerman already moving across and cooling his tyres. Although the road is damp and there is still some rain in the air, it's not as wet a circuit as it really ought to be for 30 minutes of racing on the wet rubber, so drivers having to be mindful about tyre preservation. Now, of course, if it gets wetter again, it'll help them in terms of tyres, but it'll make life very difficult as they're getting all crossed up in Schumacher. Ralph Aaron tries to get out the inside. Mick Schumacher moves across from him, so Aaron gives way to that. Round the outside comes Joel Eriksson now as he tries to gain ground. Schumacher comes out ahead. Ericsson sideways up the curb, almost sideways and round the outside of Schumacher, but he has got past Ralph Aaron. Brave stuff there from the Swede. Over the timing line they go. The leader is Zimmermann, second is Mawson, third is Schumacher, and then fourth is almost everybody else as they get down towards turn one, because you've got on the outside there Ericsson, behind him is Aaron. Also involved in that is Lando Norris, look, in the orange car of ADAC Motorsport, and then there is Jano Eismeyer, and then there is Marvin Dienst, and then Robert Schwarzman, and then David Beckman to round out the top 10. And while they're all battling like this, busy battling corner to corner to corner, the leader, Tim Zimmermann, is getting away. Schumacher defending from Mawson as Ericsson comes up round the outside. This is second, third, and fourth, and Joel Ericsson has done it. He's up into second place. Great racing this. Through he has gone, gains the place, and down they come, down towards the hairpin. So Joel Ericsson then now up into, third spot. Mawson is second. It's Zimmermann, Mawson, then Ericsson. But Joel Ericsson being far more feisty than we saw in races 1 and 2. So this is the proper Joel Ericsson, if you like, rather than the rather anonymous one we've had over the rest of the weekend. However, the safety car is being deployed once more. The safety car is being deployed. Yellow flags wave. There it is. We've not seen the incident that's brought it out, but the safety car is being deployed. So why is this? No doubt we'll get an idea in a moment. But the race is suspended. Marshals wave the yellow flag, so Tim Zimmermann leads Joey Mawson, and then Joel Ericsson up into third place. Some great racing through the Mercedes arena. Safety car awaits the pack, but for why is this? There's been presumably an incident somewhere, but we'll pick up on that hopefully in a moment. Here come the leaders then. Tim Zimmermann's yellow car. He will head up towards the line. He'll get the flags. He'll see the boards, the lights as well. In second place over the line is Mawson. Third then is Ericsson. Fourth is Schumacher. Fifth is Norris. Sixth is Aaron. Seventh is Eismeyer. Eighth is Dienst. Ninth is Schwarzman. 10th is Beckman. So as the cars come over the line, we need to see who is missing. That will hopefully give us an idea as to why we have the safety car. But so far, there's the indication. It is Marilyn Niederhauser who has spun and is in an awkward place. That is at the final corner of the Coca-Cola curve, so they've had to go past the incident zone, but all it really needs is for the marshals to go out and give the car a shove. But the trouble is that for them to go onto the track these days, the FIA Sporting Code says you must have double waved yellows to do that, but it also says double waved yellows has to be accompanied by a safety car. So the race has to be neutralised, then the marshals can be released, then the car can be moved, then we can get back underway. So safety car starts, safety car in the race as well. Down the pack, Michelle Halder, distinctive bright green car. Here comes the DMSB track clearance team to basically hook a rope onto Marilyn Niederhauser's car, give it a tug, and it's off the track. So it shouldn't be long to have the race back underway. We've had about 1/3 of it, even though we've not had too much racing, but the track conditions have certainly made it lively. So Marilyn Niederhauser's car might not even need a rope, could just be given a shove here, I think. So they've got to be careful here, rolling it over the curbs. The last thing they need is for it to get beached. That could be the case. There is Marilyn, back to help them. Gets back into the car, or does she? Yes. The steering wheel needs to be on as well. And the marshals then telling everybody to drive to the extreme of the track. They know that, because they've already been past it at least once, possibly twice. So job is to get it out of the way. So there's no overtaking allowed behind the safety car. The order has to remain the same. And there, Marilyn Niederhauser gets back in, puts the steering wheel on, and long before that car is pulled over the curbs, but hopefully that's not going to do any damage to it. Just grind the floor of the car, the belly of the car across the curbs there. Raise their highs and keep you away from them. So just under 19 minutes still to go. Tim Zimmermann leading the way. Of course, he's hoping that the race has relatively few racing laps in it, because then that's going to preserve his advantage. But the tow rope is being attached, and in order to do this, there's the even lengthier job of getting driver back in and hands device on and crash helmet on and everything else. When the car can be all the way clear of the circuit. So Tim Zimmermann it is who leads. That's second place, being his best finish yet. He was a race winner last year within the ADAC Formula Masters Championship, which, if you like, predates the series. It's the same concept, junior single-seater category. Marilyn Niederhauser's car gets a good old pull and drags it over the curbs, and thankfully it's going to keep on going. It doesn't get beached, so no longer is it immobilised, the Columbus-backed car. It is heading down the pit lane, and so the safety car is going to be in this lap, and so we're ready to go racing. Tim Zimmermann under attack from Joey Mawson. The lights are out on the safety car as it comes through the gloom, heading up towards the chicane, and this third race is set to get underway. Next stop is the Sachsenring, then they go to Ossersleben supporting the DTM, and then they have a final 3 races as part of the last ADAC GT weekend at Hockenheim, first weekend in October, but this championship far from decided yet. Tim Zimmermann then leading the way, his car one of the Neuhauser Racing Team entries. Behind him there is Joey Mawson driving for Van Amersfoort. Gets a little bit overlooked, Joey, because he's against the likes of Mick Schumacher and Harry Newey, but he's done the winning really, but most of the winning there this year. And we go racing now. The green flag is ready, so here they come up towards the Coca-Cola curve. The overtaking only can start when you get to the line. One or two of them not really respecting that. And Joey Mawson has made a mistake. Look, he went in too quickly. He's run himself out wide, and so Ericsson comes through ahead. Schumacher comes through ahead. Now, if somebody makes a mistake ahead of you, you can't do very much but overtake, can you? And so as they go racing now down towards turn 1, Joel Ericsson is the man on the move. What can he do about Tim Zimmermann? Ericsson has had 5 wins this year. Down towards turn 1 they go. Drivers fanning out across the road looking for the optimum line, but Zimmermann leads the way. But Ericsson, you put your money on now. He is up there behind him and hunting him down. Marvin Dienst is 7th. He's got himself up past Jano Esmeyer as well, as there is Joey Mawson recovering. He's back up the inside of Schumacher, but he runs wide. Mick Schumacher retakes the place. All of this now is for 3rd and 4th. They've got Ralph Aaron tucked up behind them as well as they go down towards the hairpin. But while they're squabbling, so the top 2 getting away with Joel Ericsson right on the tail of Tim Zimmermann. For 3rd, Schumacher versus Mawson versus Aaron, and again Joey Mawson runs wide, so Aaron gets up and past him. Mawson powers alongside, coming up towards the Bilstein curve. But the red-fronted car of Ralph Aaron, the Prema Power Team driver, he hangs onto the place now. There's 77. You've got Van Outert in the black and white car looking for a way through on the inside. Can't quite dislodge Moritz Müller-Krepon there, so he has to stay behind him. And that is on screen, the full race order at the moment as the cars work their way up once more towards the chicane, and it's 2 for the lead now. These 2 getting away. Zimmermann and Ericsson approaching the halfway point. Behind them, Mick Schumacher having one of his better showings of late, running 3rd, keeping Aaron at bay, and all up the curve there. Marvin Dienst, as he tried to find a way past, he's managed to get himself up past Lando Norris on this lap, and then tried to make a move as well, getting himself up past Joey Mawson. That didn't work, so he clattered up the curb, and now they sprint their way towards the timing line with the race leader being Tim Zimmermann. Through they go. Joel Ericsson runs 2nd, 3rd is Mick Schumacher still, and then in 4th place, over the line, Ralph Aaron, still there. 5th is Joey Mawson. 6th, it is Marvin Dienst, who goes to the outside line there to try and not just drive round him at turn 1, but maybe line himself up to the inside at turn 2, but it doesn't work and he runs out wide, so Lando Norris in the orange car comes up and challenges now instead. Round the outside they go, heading down through the Mercedes arena, and look at Lando Norris in the background there, right up alongside now, trying to make the move against Dienst. He's on the outside line, will lose ground and slot back in behind. But Marvin Dienst having to work really hard now. He's trying to attack, he's trying to defend all at the same time. And the dream to be the first man to win 3 in a weekend does not look like it's going to happen for him now. It is very hard to do that anyway, given how competitive the championship is and the reverse grid, or the semi-reverse grid of the top 10. But you've got Zimmermann leading. 2nd is Ericsson. There, 3rd is Schumacher. In 4th place behind him is Aaron. Then 5th it is Joey Mawson. 6th is Dienst. 7th, orange car, yellow top to the helmet. Lando Norris up the inside. Had a good look there coming out of the Bilstein curve, but couldn't quite do it. They turn their way up now towards the NGK chicane once more, and as they do so, Zimmermann is certainly under attack. Ralph Aaron up the inside of Schumacher, who defends, so Aaron tries the outside line, and that doesn't really pay off either. this section still looking very treacherous indeed. It's gloomier, it's more slippery, and of course you've got the chicane there where heavy braking coming uphill is the order of the day. Mawson up the inside of Aaron for 4th place now, coming through the Coca-Cola curve. Ralph Aaron on the outside looking for a bit more traction. Schumacher out wide and out sideways, and Aaron gets up ahead of him. Mawson is blocked. Marvin Dienst now up the inside as well. They go 3 wide past the pits. On the inside is Dienst, in the middle is Schumacher. On the very outside in 36 is Joey Mawson, and Lando Norris gets a tow as well, and he gets up past Schumacher, and he's going to be alongside Mawson as they break for turn 1. Great racing this. Lando Norris up the order, Mick Schumacher down the order, and with bags of understeer, Joey Mawson flings the car up the inside. He's understeering in, he's sideways out, he almost hits Schumacher as well. Robert Schwarzman in the next orange car there, gaining ground as they work their way through the arena. But Lando Norris now is on a mission. He's working his way up the order. So too is Marvin Dienst. So a wonderful scrap raging on for 3rd place. Trouble is that up the road, the 2 race leaders have gone. They need to get themselves together and squabble and hold each other up to give these drivers a chance, but they're not going to do that by choice. There they are. And actually, the gap is not a huge one, is it anymore? Zimmerman having to repel Joel Eriksson. Fastest lap, incidentally, Marek Buchmann, who is a long, long way down the order in 22nd place. But Buchmann, with a tow, managed to get the best lap of the race now. The leaders head up towards the Ad Van Bergen, and as they turn their way through the right-hander, it is Tim Zimmerman who leads the way. 2nd spot, Joel Eriksson. And there, with broken suspension, out of the race, is the car of Camille Moreira-Laliberti, the Canadian. And that's happened at pit out. He's not driven through the pit lane. It's happened so that going down towards turn 1, there's been an incident, and he's parked the car, swung it off the road, and that is at the pit exit. So Laliberti is a retirement. Now that car should be okay, out of harm's way, not to neutralise the race once again. As the leaders go by, the gap between them is 0.4, and then it's a second to the next train. So it's all concertinaing up, and Marvin Dienst running in 4th. Do you know what? All of a sudden he has got a chance of winning all 3 races. Lower down the order, Schumacher is busy defending. He's fading away, isn't he, falling back in the pack. And for the race lead, Eriksson had a look on the inside at turn 2. It didn't work. The understeering Joey Mawson is going to lose out there, because up the inside of him, Robert Schwarzman tries to go. Doesn't quite work, though, for the Russian driver, so he has to slot back in now. The field turning its way through the Mercedes arena. Number 4 going through, Robert Schwarzman ahead of Mick Schumacher. Schumacher attacking, having to defend and trading places on the left and right handers, depending on which line you're on. It works out or goes against you. Joey Mawson into the hairpin. Schumacher running a little bit deep, and up the inside there goes Jano Esmeyer, who's not making the same progress that his teammate is, but Esmeyer now up alongside David Beckman there with the darker helmet in the orange car, and Beckman number 5 through on the inside line. Beckman then hangs onto the place. That is 9th. And here, look now, the leading group is almost 5. Tim Zimmerman still has the advantage. Marvin Dienst is 4th and has done the fastest lap of the race. Up they come now, heading into the chicane, nose to tail, the 2 race leaders. Left, right, back on the power, and Dienst running 4th, still could well strike. And oversteering Schumacher is about to get mugged by Schwarzman, who's up the inside line. Schumacher defends as best he can, but Schwarzman, fair play, keeps on coming. And the door is opened on the inside, so can David Beckman take advantage of that now. Over the line, Aaron and also Eriksson are side by side for 2nd further up the road. Here's the leading group. Marvin Dienst in the black and white and green car on the very outside line. Zimmerman, the leader, doesn't know who to defend. Down towards turn 1 they go. Dienst round the outside of Eriksson, who's dropping away a little bit. Ralph Aaron alongside the race leader, hidden by the graphic. He goes round on the outside line, and Ralph Aaron takes over the leadership now. Aaron goes through, and look at this, Lando Norris charging up the inside from 5th to 4th to 3rd. Really late on the brakes, but a great move. He's done it, he's up to 3rd place. Dienst drops back to 4th. And Lando Norris sideways runs wide, and that therefore now means that up the inside of him goes Joel Eriksson. Eriksson retakes 3rd, and Marvin Dienst is 5th-ish, but he's up the inside of Norris as they dive into the hairpin. Both run a little bit deep, and Marvin Dienst gets the drive coming out of the corner. But Lando Norris is still ahead and stays ahead. Through the left and the right of the Bilstein curve they go. So the race leader now is Ralph Aaron, who's yet to win this year. He's had some 2nd places, but not yet a victory. 2 seconds, and now he leads. In 2nd place is Tim Zimmerman, who's dropping back, look. And then in 3rd, take your pick, Joel Eriksson, ahead of Lando Norris, ahead of Marvin Dienst, and 9 more minutes to go. What's been a tremendous race. The slippery conditions helping a little bit as drivers try and battle their way on a wet road, with some of the quicker drivers getting up towards the drivers that didn't race so well in the first race and were at the bottom end of the top 10. Out of the NGK chicane, Mick Schumacher busy defending. He's got Jano Esmayer behind him and also David Beckman, and then there's a car with a little bit of damage trying to join in as well. Jason Kramer, that is, for Timo Scheider's team. Beckman is sideways, Kramer up the inside, looking number 30 in the black and green car. Wheel to wheel over the timing line as Lando Norris makes his move up the inside line once more for third place against Joel Eriksson, and he has done it. Ralph Aaron, though, finally looks like he's on for a win, and he's getting away up front as Zimmerman busy defends from Norris, but leaves the door open on the inside for Eriksson to have a punt. That doesn't work. Norris goes right round the outside of Zimmerman up into second place. Excellent stuff this from Lando Norris, but then he's a bit too quick into turn 3 and he goes wide. Zimmerman nearly levels with him, but Norris is ahead coming out of the corner, and Marvin Deans tries to get up the inside as well now. They're heading down towards the hairpin. Lando Norris, the Brit, trying to defend because right behind him is Zimmerman, and then Deans. And then you've got Joel Eriksson as well, who's trying to get back up on the inside. He lost his championship lead yesterday to Marvin Dienst, and Dienst is ahead of him now as they go to the Bilstein Curva. So, while all that's been going on, Ralph Aaron is building the lead as there Dienst goes to the inside of Zimmerman in the yellow and black car, Tim Zimmerman. Can Norris do anything about the race leader? Ralph Aaron has got 7 minutes to go, just over, before he can think about a race win for the first time in the championship. But behind him, Lando Norris, who has been a winner in this already. He won at Spa, he's been a winner in the British equivalent, the MSA Formula. And behind, look, Zimmerman keeping Dienst at bay as they work their way through the chicane. But Marvin Dienst, I think, has got the run coming out of the chicane. He's up the inside line there, and Dienst breaks late. He's got the shorter line, and he's got the place as well now. Marvin Dienst through, runs it up wide, sideways over the curb. Lots of arm twirling goes on to get it in a straight line, and up past him again comes Tim Zimmerman. So one up and one down for Dienst. Zimmerman is third. Fourth then over the line is Marvin Dienst. In fifth place, right up there with him is Joel Eriksson, who tries to go 3 wide down towards turn 1. The race leader, Ralph Aaron, has done the best lap of the race. Dienst round the outside of Zimmerman, but he goes wide, he cuts across, he's done it. He also has to defend from Aaron as they run through the Mercedes arena. And Tim Zimmerman is going to lose 2 spots, yes, because Joel Eriksson has got past him as well. Wow, frantic stuff. And Marvin Dienst then up into third place. I think he's made it stick now. Fourth is Joel Eriksson, who's been up and down the order a bit. And then down to fifth is Tim Zimmerman. And behind, they're not done yet. Joey Mawson, who was running second early on, if you remember, before he made his mistake on the safety car restart. He's trying to be 6th. Robert Schwarzman is trying to be 7th. 8th is Jano Esmayer. And then there's a gap. Mick Schumacher from second on the grid, he's 9th and fading away, keeping David Beckman behind him. Crikey, 5 3/4 minutes still to run. What else can happen in this race? The leaders power their way downhill. Up front, Ralph Aaron leading by 3 seconds now. And even though Lando Norris is quick and doing personal best laps, don't think he's going to be able to do anything about the race leader unless Aaron makes a mistake. He's not had a win yet, so there's all the mental pressure being put onto the race leader. As there, Jano Esmayer gets up the inside of Robert Schwarzman for 7th place. The HTP Junior team car in the hands of Esmayer ahead of the ADAC Motorsport Run, ADAC Berlin Brandenburg car of Robert Schwarzman. The leader goes by, and the gap is down by 1/10, so 3 seconds. There, look, Schumacher and Beckman together as they come up towards the line, and Beckman is through up into 9th spot now. Mick Schumacher has a face full of spray as they go over the timing line down towards turn 1. Uncle Ralph was here yesterday, commentating on the races for German television, presenting prizes on the podium, but Mick, I'm afraid, is losing places now as he drops down towards the bottom end of the top 10. Tries to go all the way around on the outside there. Look as the battles rage on up the road ahead of him. Within the middle of all of that, Jano Esmayer going deep into the corner, so back up alongside him now comes Robert Schwarzman, and Schwarzman goes ahead once more. Beckman fends off Schumacher out of the Mercedes arena. The cars now drop down towards the hairpin. 4 minutes and change on the clock. Schumacher to the outside line. Gets the cut back. He's going to be alongside coming out of the corner. Has he got the drive? Yes, he has. Up the curb will inevitably end up going the orange car in the hands there of David Beckman, but he also keeps the inside line for the next corner. So Beckman goes ahead of Schumacher. Goes up the curb in his efforts to find a way through, but now out of the chicane they come. The clock ticking away towards the end of 30 minutes. Ralph Aaron, the race leader, making his way up past the pits. In second place, Lando Norris has just brought the gap down by nearly half a second, and they're over the line. Zimmerman in the yellow car, and alongside him Schwartzman in the orange livery. Side by side they run, but we're not done yet for the race lead. We've got 3 minutes to go, which is probably enough for 2 more laps, and Lando Norris is chipping away at Ralph Aaron. Norris getting quicker and quicker as the race has gone on here. Through the Mercedes arena they go now, up towards the next sequence of corners. To turn 3 down to the hairpin in a moment they will go. And Aaron versus Norris, and then behind we've got Marvin Dienst running in 3rd place. He's also speeding up now. He has done a personal best lap. Jano Esmail there, his teammate at HTP, 2 pole positions, but no wins over the course of the weekend. Frustration for him, I'm sure of that, because his teammate has done the winning across races 1 and 2. Dienst running in 3rd place, not quite as quickly as Lando Norris ahead of him. Schumacher there turning his way 10th out of the hairpin. Jason Kramer, who is in 11th place, has also fallen back a little bit now, so Schumacher given a free ride for the moment. He doesn't have to fret too much about that 10th spot. It's getting wetter coming up towards the hairpin. Visibility through the camera lens not as good as it was, but up front, Ralph Aaron leads the way, and there is Lando Norris. Now, Aaron had done the fastest lap of the race, but Lando Norris chipping away, maybe even quicker this time. They've got just over 2 minutes to go. There's going to be time for 2 more laps at the end of this. Work their way over the line. 99 leads the way. It is Ralph Aaron up front. Lando Norris running second. 2.8 seconds is the margin. It's actually gone up that time, so Lando Norris not quite being able to maintain the pace. Through in 3rd spot, Marvin Dienst. And then this is for 4th, Joel Eriksson, ahead of Joey Mawson, ahead of Jano Esmail as they drop down into the right-hander at turn 1, and then behind them also braking as late as he dares, Robert Schwartzman. A minute and a half to go then here on the short version of the Grand Prix circuit at the Nürburgring, and up the inside, almost a bit of wheel banging, goes Jano Esmail. He's trying to dislodge Joey Mawson, who defends. Mawson in turn is looking for a way past number 7 Joel Eriksson, and that doesn't happen either for him. Turn their way out of the Mercedes arena, some forced wide, and so Esmail is the man on the move. He goes up the inside, he's got past Mawson, and also diving into the mix as well, looking Schwartzman, who almost runs Mawson off the road as he brakes so late. So Joey Mawson comes off worse out of all of that. Up front though, Ralph Aaron is heading for a first win of the championship. Yeah, Tim Zimmerman, the pole man, has certainly faded away. He's down in 8th, and he's got David Beckman crawling all over him. So Tim Zimmerman, I'm afraid, looks like he might lose another spot before the end of the race here. Uphill into the chicane goes 27, Marvin Dienst, it is leading the pack. And there for 8th and 9th, Zimmerman versus Beckman, and Beckman goes through, round the outside under braking. He gains the place. That's the battered car of Jason Kramer hunting down Mick Schumacher for 10th. The leaders are onto the last lap now. Through has just gone Ralph Aaron, who is now pulling away once more from Lando Norris. The gap has gone up again to 3 seconds. Impressive stuff this by Ralph Aaron, on target for a first win, and he's not lucked into it. He's had to race very, very hard indeed for it. Up there, looks through the Coca-Cola curve is Jonathan Cecotto, second son of Johnny Cecotto, former motorbike champion, F1 racer, touring car driver. Next battle to look for going through the Mercedes arena there, Joel Eriksson versus Jano Esmail, I think it was, running together, and Esmail is through, so Joel Eriksson, having made progress early on in the race, now fading as the race wears on. Is this an element of people asking too much of the tyres early in the race? 30 minutes is a long time, especially in wet on a road that's drying a little bit. It's not fully wet, so maybe Eriksson's tyres are past their best, and certainly he's struggling now, isn't he? He's got more crawling all over him. Out of the hairpin, Mawson has fallen away as well. Joey Mawson having been 3rd on the grid, so the cars work their way up towards the Bilstein curve for the last time, and as they do so, the race leader already well clear. Ralph Aaron turning his way up towards the Ad Van Bogen. He comes into the Coca-Cola curve for the final time, and Ralph Aaron, having been on the podium at the Red Bull Ring for 2nd, in the opening race at Ossersleben for 2nd, Ralph Aaron wins at the Nürburgring. Across the line he comes, the Prema Power Team driver scores victory by 2.9 seconds from Lando Norris. first win of the year for Kramer as well. So Aaron wins, Norris second, Marvin Dean's third, and then fourth across the line is Jano Esmar. In fifth, Robert Schwarzman, sixth, Joel Eriksson, seventh, Joey Mawson, eighth, David Beckman, ninth, Tim Zimmerman, and 10th goes the way of Mick Schumacher. And that, certainly the best race we've had of the weekend for the Formula 4 cars, probably one of the best of the season, with so much happening all the way through the field. Safety car start, safety car in the race, and Ralph Aaron, a very happy race winner indeed. Kramer Power Team, it's been a disappointing start to the season with no victories. And Ralph Aaron driving like he doesn't know he's taken the flag. Still pushing on, but the flag has gone out, the 30 minutes have elapsed, and so Ralph Aaron, perhaps so focused he was, certainly not celebrating, he's inside the car, pressing on. Lando Norris second, another podium finish for the British driver, and then for third place is going to be Marvin Dienst. 2 wins in the third, collectively it's one of the best weekends you could have this season, given how competitive it is. The weather conditions having a part to play. Lando Norris, incidentally, being the winning rookie. And on a slippery road, drivers have had the message. They do go down the pit lane, but Ralph Aaron then victorious. There he is. So overall, it is Ralph Aaron the winner from Lando Norris. And then third, Marvin Dienst. As far as the rookie competition is concerned, it's a win for Lando Norris. The second of the rookies, David Beckman, and the third, Mick Schumacher. Well, it's proving to be a mighty competitive season, this. And there is Ralph Aaron taking honours. Step out of the car for second place, Lando Norris. Delighted Ralph Aaron. Different winner of the season. Lando Norris, the diminutive grip, tried hard, but it wasn't to be. Marvin Dienst gave his best shot, but starting 10th on the grid, especially with such tough opposition, it was going to be hard, but not a good shot. So Lando Norris heads next time to Rock Hill, a continuing story of the MSA Formula, Ginetti Junior racer. Marvin Dienst talking to his team, the HTP Junior team guys. Very shortly, he, Ralph Aaron and Lando Norris will head up to the podium.
Und du hast die Meisterschaftsführung behalten.
Dienst staying ahead of Joel Eriksson, so prior managed to win the championship. He's got music to his ears. Kramer Power Team, Randy Rossum's team, finally, they've had a win in this championship. Kramer, one of the top junior single-seater squads. So now, drivers being ushered up towards the podium. Marvin Dienst still getting congratulations. There is Ralph Aaron. Look at guys, appreciate his first win as well. Ralph Aaron, not only the race winner, but also did the fastest lap of the race as well. Confirmation of the results, Ralph Aaron ahead of Lando Norris with Marvin Dienst third, Jano Esmar fourth ahead of Robert Schwarzman, then Joel Eriksson sixth, seventh to Joey Mawson, eighth place David Beckman, ninth Tim Zimmerman, Mick Schumacher in 10th ahead of Jason Kramer, Marek Berkman, and then Kim Lewis Schramm ahead of Ratchet, Ortman, Fintia, Mazetis, Harry Newey from the back of the grid, only 18th, and another frustrating weekend for him ahead of Robbie Brezina, Jan Jonk, Job van Outert. The rest of the pack comes through with the likes of Valdhat, Lalebate and Niederhausen in retirement. Cedric Pirro also pitted and went out somewhat delayed. Let's have another look then at the top three. Marvin Dienst it is in the HTP Junior team car who comes home in third spot. 2 race wins and a third place. Lando Norris, third in race 1, second in race 2. A good weekend for him in the Motorsport car. Race win, his first of the year, and the first for Kramer Power Team as well. For Ralph Aaron, who comes home the race winner in the end by 2.9 seconds clear of everybody else. So, a damp Nürburgring has played host to 3 good races, with Marvin Dienst now with a 10-point advantage in the championship over Joel Eriksson. Joey Mawson is third ahead of Robert Schwarzman. Ralph Aaron creeping into the mix now, 5th after that win ahead of Jano Esmeyer, and Lando Norris is next. Mick Schumacher still down in 13th with work to be done for the second half of the year. But it's been an interesting season, that is for sure, and we're not done yet. Next stop is the Sachsenring. 3 races in a fortnight's time. Then cars will make their way to Otterschwaven and Hockenheim. Well, the podium ceremony coming up shortly. Let's have another look back at some of the best bits of round 15 of the ADAC Formula 4 Championship.
If you will, my stumble, feel how it trembles inside. You got the butterflies all tied up, no imitation. Even love has cried, leave me standing, alone in the world so cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father.
An awful lot happened in the 15th round of the ADAC Formula 4 Championship, and so now the drivers are being made ready. Behind the podium, race winner Ralph Aaron, Lando Norris for 2nd place, and then Marvin Dienst finishing in 3rd spot. They will step forward shortly. And as I say, the next stop is going to be at the Sachsenring, another circuit for many of them new. Of course, a number of drivers new to car racing. Lando Norris raced in the UK in the Ginetta Junior Championship last year, but many of the circuits he's visiting, of course, in mainland Europe, all new. Some of the drivers have raced in the ADAC Formel Masters Championship, similar concept, and others, of course, are fresh out of karting. So it's one of the reasons why we're getting this spread of results, because some people are adapting to different venues quicker than others. And as the drivers now are being brought forward, won't be long, I think, before the podium ceremony is underway. It's not the end of the action here at the Nürburgring, because the European GT4 series will be on track shortly, and the cars for that will make their way down the pit lane pretty soon. But the ADAC Formula 4 Championship continuing in its 1st year, don't forget, as well, as the FIA certified Formula 4 concept spreads around the globe. More and more championships and more good racing is common. It's had a very competitive 1st season, and let's hope that the championship year goes down to the wire at the final weekend at Hockenheim for the last 3 races. But it's going to be Ralph Aaron who will be on the top step of the podium here, celebrating a race victory. Lando Norris and Marvin Dienst set to join him on the podium as well. Track conditions hardly ideal for the drivers. Slippery surface virtually all the way through, and the rain is coming again, and the fog is setting in also, which is frustrating for the GT4 drivers, because their earlier races could tail through fog, but the cloud level is getting lower. The rain, the drizzle is picking up once more. So it's been one of those days at the Nürburgring where the weather has just not helped matters whatsoever. Jano Esmeyer, Robert Schwarzman and Joel Eriksson. The rest of the result scrolls through. Kim Lewis-Schramm, who was off the road yesterday. Good result for Tony Wolff, actually, 22nd. Better than it had been all weekend. Another disappointing time for Harrison Newey, which was karting in Germany and in Italy. But for the top step of the podium, Prema Power Team's Ralph Aaron finally has done it. A race win is his, and Ralph Aaron for the top step of the podium. It's been a long time coming, but a relief and delight in equal measure. Lando Norris 2nd, noisy reception from the ADAC Motorsports crew downstairs. And double winner, Marvin Deans. This weekend a double winner, now 5 in total, takes third place. He is one of the more experienced single-seater racers on the grid, so you could argue he should be doing this, but even so, another good drive that by Marvin Deans for third place. And Prema Power Team represented on the podium as well, having guided Ralph Aron to a race victory. Ralph Aron, the winner of the final race here this weekend. And very shortly, the trophies will be handed over. Of course, helmet buildup. The ADAC gives the race winner a trophy, and that is one to savour for Ralph Aron, his first victory in Formula 4. And then Max Goetz, DTM driver for Mercedes, who is here as a guest this weekend. Gives Lando Norris the second place trophy. Of course, Max Goetz is somebody who was a regular in the ADAC GT Championship with Max Book for a few seasons. And then for his third place, Marvin Deans receives his trophy as well. 2 wins and a third is a good weekend, really solid there for the championship. And this has been a pivotal weekend as Marvin Deans has taken over and then built up the lead in the ADAC Championship. Lando Norris, the winning rookie, so there is another trophy for him from Max Goetz. Lando Norris, the Brit, receives more silverware. He was the winning rookie as well in the first race of the weekend, so laden with trophies he will go home. The drivers now, plus Prema Power Teams representative on the podium, will get together